So, like the great Han Solo once said, never tell me the odds. Today's lesson is about odds and explain how odds work and apply them to real world applications like games or passing classes or the ability for a car to keep running on the road. So, let's just say what odds is. Odds is just another form to express probability. It actually focuses on the confidence that we have in something. Now, that something is usually in the terms of success to failure, to some form of failure, some form of ratio that actually shows us what the odds of winning compared to losing is, or the odds of finding what you want as compared to what you don't want. Here's what you know from before. So from before, we had P of A is equal to N of A divided by N of S, right? So that's the probability of something actually happening, okay? Now, we're going to talk about the notation of this thing called odds. Okay? The notation of odds is given by the following. We're literally taking the ratio of the probability of what we want, let's call it a win, divided by the probability of what we lose. Okay? You could also look at it as the probability of A divided by the probability of A's complement, right? So think of winning, and then the opposite of winning is losing. Where if you think of P of A as the probability of success, or like Charlie Sheen would say, winning what you want. And the complement of that, the probability of the complement is the probability of failure. Otherwise known as losses. Those of you that are in sports would have heard about a thing called the win-loss percentage, i.e. P of W to P of L. Or you could write it as P of whatever you're looking for to the probability of A's complement, the probability of the other stuff that you don't have. You could also imagine it as N of A value compared to N of A's complement. So if we know the number of times we win, or we know the number of times we lose, we can always come up with that ratio. So take, for example, the probability of rolling a 3. Well, we did the calculations for that, and that turned out to be 1/6. Now, the odds in favor are, well, it's always wins to loss ratio, right? So that means this thing is going to be 1 to, if there were 6 possibilities, that means there are 5 losses. So you would say the odds in favor is a win to loss ratio, which is, in this case, for what we're looking for, 1 to 5. Where, if you look at it, this part here is the number of times we win, also known as NW or NA. And then this is the complement, N of A's complement, which is N of its wins. Oh, not wins, but losses. So suppose I asked you to tell me what the odds against were. So the odds against. So that's the odds against winning. So that means we're looking for the loss to the win percentage, which would mean we're going to have 5 to 1. And we're done. Just remember, the odds in favor is always the flip of the odds against. So now let's move on to our next topic. So an example of probability of severe thunderstorms for Windsor in January is about 0.4 or 40%. In favor. All right. So the probability of a snowstorm is 0.4, or also known as 40%. Okay. I need to figure out what the odds in favor of a snowstorm is in January. So let's do that right now. So we've got A, the probability of snow. Snowstorm is 40%, which is the same as 40 over 100, which simplifies to 2/5. Now, the odds in favor of having a snowstorm. So, therefore, oh, yes. If you look at this, the odds to possibly to get a snowstorm is 2. The total probability is 5. So, therefore, in order to figure out what goes here, we have to take 5 minus 2. And we're going to put 3 in there. Is our odds in favor. So 2 to 3 is our odds in favor. And now, B. What are the odds against having a snowstorm? In this case, instead of 2 to 3, therefore the answer is 3 to 2 is the odds in favor. Odds against having a snowstorm. All right, just pause the video and copy that. Oops, I guess I read the word odds wrong. So the next question that we're going to have is a problem where we have this guy named Raul. Now, Raul the odds in favor of Rahul hitting a home run is 2 to 7. What is the probability of him hitting a home run? So when we do this, you got to remember So for Raul, his home run is determined to be about 2 to 7, right? So what is this? What does this really mean? So this means that if I take those two numbers, I have to add them to get the number of bats that we have for Raul. So it's going to be 2 plus 7, which is equal to 9 bats, right? And it says, what is the probability of Paul hitting a home run? So you know that this is the odds in favor of hits, of home runs. And then this is the anti-home run. So home, let's go home with a tick on it, right? So if I want the probability of a home run, we have to take the number of possibilities of home runs and we got to divide that by the probability, because it is probability of all the hits, all the at-bats. In this case, we're going to have 2 for our home runs over 9. Now, your homework has been posted, right? This is the final thing. So every time you do these problems, make sure you kind of say, therefore, the probability prob is 2 over 9th or 22.2%. One of those two things is what I want for your answers. Your homework has actually been posted online. Do the questions from that section. If you need more, ask me and I'll prepare some more practice problems with answers for you.